Hello, everybody. Welcome into another episode of the WTH podcast. Yes, we're live. Yes, we're recording. Yes, I'm Nate. Kareem is next to me. Jason below us. Gentlemen, how are you all doing?
Good.
It's an audio medium, Jason. To answer with audio. I know we're streaming too, but primarily this is an audio podcast.
I was muted, so...
I
was making guttural noises that were not picked up.
Gotcha. Hey, I want to welcome in our one person listening to us in Poland. We have listeners all over the world, but I've noticed that over the past couple of months, we've had one download every episode from Poland. So, hello to you, sir or madam from Poland. I'm not going to try to pronounce the name of your town because I would butcher it. So I shall not insult you. So it's glad to have you in wherever you're listening, from Poland to Australia to Spain and yes, even Granite Bay. We're happy to have all of you in with us. It's good to have you.
Granite Bay.
I got a robocall the other day from it was someone not of this land, and she was very excited to push something that was going to be an opportunity for me in Granite Bay. And she said,
"Oh, wow.
Have you heard of Douglas Boulevard?" I said,
Douglas?
"Yes, it's very long." I said, "It's a very long street. Of course, I've heard of it." And then
a very long street.
I hung up on her like 3 seconds later. So I'm like, "Yeah, I have zero interest in where this is going. I wasn't interested enough to string it along."
Like, and Douglas is one of those ones that just like goes out to the middle of nowhere. Like, at least if you're on Watt, you hit freeways a couple of times, you know.
Bro,
like Roseville
Watt ends in the middle of nowhere too.
Yes, it does.
Well, no, it might end in the middle of nowhere, but it hits a lot of like major thoroughfares. Like Douglas, once you get past, yeah.
It was just a very odd offering, I thought. Have you heard of Douglas Boulevard? It put me in mind, if you're a Sopranos fan, when Tony goes to Italy and he talks to the Don there, but the Don there is really old and he's enamored with America, but all he names is landmarks and streets. So it's like George Washington Bridge, and he's doing it like that, and I'm like, this is what this is. I don't know who this is or why this is exciting. It's an opportunity I'm going to let go. If I were recording it for the show, I would have kept going, but no, I was not. So
we need to record one of those and just like keep it like use like Douglas Boulevard. No, and I'm offended that you would even ask, and then you hang up.
Always be ready to record your phone calls.
Always.
Yeah, I'm not sure what the law is about recording incoming phone calls. If you call somebody else, you have to let them know you're recording them. But if they call you, I don't know what the rule is. My guess is you still have to let them know if you're going to be using it for broadcast. I guess this is technically a broadcast. We're broadcasting live on Facebook and YouTube and Twitter as we speak. So I suppose
I never agreed to this.
Oh, you didn't? Oh, sorry. You got the link. You signed in. Anyway, how are you guys doing? Kareem, how about yourself?
I'm good. My boss's wife had a COVID scare, she has COVID, but he's tested negative 3 times. So that was an interesting couple of days. So all of the stuff that I had planned on doing this weekend got scrapped because I didn't want to take any chances for anybody else.
That's right. I did not see Kareem on Saturday.
So I did get to see the insides of my dryer.
Oh yeah, let's get into that. Let's talk about your dryer.
And I am so glad that my mother's house didn't burn down, because that was a fucking fire hazard for your ass. I did not realize that lint could get underneath the dryer.
Lint can get everywhere. It's crazy.
So I had a guy come out a couple weeks ago and clean do the dryer vent. And then we were like, well, before we put the dryer back in, maybe we should clean it. My girlfriend said it and I kind of looked at her like, whatever. And then I started to clean it. And then I was like, holy shit, she was right. There was so much lint. I could have made like a stuffed carnival sized teddy bear.
Yeah, the big thing with dryer lint is, I mean, most people clean the lint trap, but it gets down beyond that, and every so often you need to really get in there. They make these brushes that you can use to get down in and get stuff out.
That's what I use.
Yeah, the other thing is the very least like a nozzle on your vacuum cleaner to at least get a lot of it out. If you do it on the regular, it's not going to build up, but the problem is most people don't.
Yeah, and she hadn't done anything, so I ended up having to take the front off. And found like a whole another big old pile of lint in the front. So I still have to go back and take the dryer, the vent trap off and clean that out, and then we can put it back in the house. But not until then.
Wow, that is a lot. That is a lot. Jason, what do you want to talk about?
Making food with kids.
Are you eating children? What are you talking about?
No. It's just, I mean, both my daughters they want everything that I'm doing. Like, there was a meme the other day, or like a TikTok the other day. It was like, "Can't I just take a shit by myself?" Like to the song or something like that. It's just like a guy. You just see like the kid's like standing right next to him, holding his leg, like looking at him, and he's just like you can tell he's on the toilet. That's the way it is, right? But it's also that way in the kitchen because I make all the meals and everything like that, generally. So, anyhow, it's just they don't listen. They're the worst people to cook with.
Children are terrible people.
Oh man,
they're tiny, terrible people.
They are
like I can either like try to let them help somehow, and like I have to just give up, like shit's gonna get fucked up, or I can spend time stressing out about it for the next half hour while I try to make something that should only take me 15 minutes to make because they're right on top of me, or I'm having to entertain them doing other things. So, all that to say, I made a brownie chocolate silk pie with the girls today. So it was in this menu that this menu system that we get. Anyhow, it's basically it was a pie crust with a fudge brownie, like cooked in it, and then on top of that you put a chocolate silk topping, which is cream cheese and Cool Whip with bittersweet chocolate mixed into it. In the morning, I made the pie crust and the fudge brownie with Alma. There was 2 times where she spilled half of the items onto the countertop. It's like I made it so all she needed to do was take the cup and pick it up and then dump it inside. That's all she had to do. And she still managed to get like half of it out. And then and with CJ, like I'm we're making the putting, silk pie part of it, the mousse type of thing on there.
So let's be really clear. Alma is just a couple months short of being 3 years old.
Yeah, she's almost 3. Yeah.
So I think that helps the story to know how old they are.
Sorry,
CJ's 5, right?
CJ's 5, right? Yeah. So and for Alma, she can pick things up and pour things in. I thought that would be fine for her, and then for her to watch the oven. And yeah, so then CJ, when I just like I turned my back for a few minutes, I'm like, okay, here's something that you can lick. I gave her like 1 spoon that she could lick, right? And then I had another one that I was using to kind of whip things up with, right? And I turn around and I'm washing something out so I can use it, and I turn around and she like puts down the thing real quickly, and she just has chocolate all over her face, and I'm like, CJ, I was like, why did You were licking, like, I gave you that other spoon to lick. I gave you that spoon to lick. Why were you licking that spoon? I was like, that was going, I'm using it still. And it just like, and it just looks at me so cute and so innocently, like, I'm sorry, I wanted to taste it, Daddy. It's like, what? It's the same thing. It's the spoon I gave you.
Sucker.
Yeah. Well, that's the price we pay.
Well, I'm glad that story took that turn because you started off with some Hansel and Gretel shit.
That's funny. Actually, that said, like I said to Alma the other day, I was kidding around with her, and like I call her Turkey. I was like, "You Turkey?" I was like, "I want to put you in the oven," and she's like, she got really scared. Like her face turned white. She's like, "Don't put me in the oven." Daddy, don't put me in the oven. I'm like, oh shit, no, I'm fucking just kidding. And then for like the next 2 days, she just would look at me and say, no, Daddy, don't put me in the oven. I'm like, what the fuck?
Yeah, that's fun for when the cops roll up. Well, Daddy was threatening to put me in the oven.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm like, no, I wasn't. No, not at all. Wasn't me.
I'm not doing it.
Wasn't me.
That's hilarious.
We don't have time for what I want to talk about because we need to talk about. I'll talk about it really quickly. We watched all of We Need to Talk About Cosby here. Did either of you watch We Need to Talk About Cosby?
I watched about half of the first episode.
Kareem, did you watch any of it?
Nope.
Okay. I will say this. Bill Cosby accomplished a lot of things in his career, made a lot of inroads for a lot of African Americans, and he also did a lot of really terrible things. Terrible things. Both can be true. And it was quite an interesting ride to go through it all and see how far back a lot of Bill Cosby's, for lack of a better term, predatory behavior was on display. The type of building trust and grooming and that sort of thing that allowed him to be in that position. But we will move forward from there because we need to talk about Joe Rogan again.
Sorry.
So Joe Rogan.
I just shit my pants.
Did you? Well, that is unfortunate. Joe Rogan is in the news again this week because there was a smash cut of him saying the N-word that got put out there. So Joe Rogan again took to Instagram to do a Joe Rogan apology.
Hello, friends. I'm making this video to talk about the most regretful and shameful thing that I've ever had to talk about publicly. Mm-hmm. There's a video that's out that's a compilation of me saying the N-word.
Right.
It's a video that's made of clips taken out of context of me of 12 years of conversations on my podcast, and it's all smushed together, and it looks fucking horrible, even to me. Now, I know that to most people, there's no context where a white person is ever allowed to say that word, never mind publicly on a podcast. And I agree with that now. I haven't said it in years, but for a long time, when I would bring that word up, like if it would come up in conversation, instead of saying the N-word, I would just say the word. I thought as long as it was in context, people would understand what I was doing. Like that context was part of the clip we were talking about Red Fox, how Red Fox said that word on television in the 1970s and how times have changed so much since then. Or about how Richard Pryor used it as one of the titles of one of his albums. Or I was quoting a Lenny Bruce bit, or I was quoting a Paul Mooney bit, or I was talking about how Quentin Tarantino used it repeatedly in Pulp Fiction, or I was talking about how a Netflix executive, ironically.
Okay, you get the idea. Ultimately, he did apologize and say he has to do better. So we got there. We're not going to listen to the whole 4.5 minutes of it because, we'll get to him using it in context. Before we do, though, I want to play a clip from India Ari, who has asked that her music be removed from Spotify because she doesn't want to share a platform with Joe Rogan. Is what she had to say.
Hey y'all, I want to leave a short message here about why I decided to ask my music be pulled off of Spotify. So check this out.
No white people. Says, okay, take me to this one. And the guy goes, okay. Goes, that in a good neighborhood? He's like, oh, yeah. Guy barely speaks English. He takes us there. We get out and we're giggling. Oh, we're going to see Planet of the Apes. We walk into Planet of the Apes. We walked into Africa, dude. We walked in the door and there was no white people. It says, okay, take.
I empathize with the people who are leaving for the COVID disinformation reasons, and I think that they should. I also think that Joe Rogan has the right to say what he wants to say. I also think that I have the right to say what I want to say. So as an artist who builds, Spotify is built on the back of the music streaming. So they take this money that's built from streaming, they pay this guy $100 million, but they pay us 0.003% of a penny. Just take me off. I don't want to generate money that pays this. Just take me off. That's where I'm at. And I know that I'm actually, to be honest with you, surprised that my statements were picked up because I thought people weren't really going to listen to me because that's what I'm used to from the industry. But I'm glad that I am being heard, and for that reason, I want to clarify my statements. Again, this is why. Watch this.
Like, you know,
The nigger thing.
yes,
Saying the word nigger.
I've already said nigger.
D is just like nigger. Saying nigger. She's calling you a nigger. It's like this boy that he's a nigger and starts calling them niggers. Word nigger. There should be a word like nigger, especially like the word nigger. That's our nigger. About niggers. He says nigger. Guy, a nigger. And there are niggers. Start saying nigger. How to use the word nigger. Out the word nigger. See nigger. Word nigger. Say nigger and you couldn't say nigger. And what's nigger?
So we know how social media can be. Things can be doctored, people are taken out of context. It's happened to me many times. However, I want to be clear, in no uncertain terms, where I stand on this is that he shouldn't even be uttering the word. Don't even say it under any context. Don't say it.
Okay. So that's sort of what happened this week. Kareem, do you have any thoughts at this point?
Nate,
Yes, sir.
I'm going to give you what you've been waiting for.
Are you going to say the word?
No.
That's not what I've been waiting for.
So you asked me a couple of times if there's anything that Dave Chappelle could do that I would disagree with.
Mm-hmm.
We have reached that place, that thing. And if he defends this
Joe
dude,
Rogan,
then I have an issue.
Wow.
Yes, because Donald Rawlings decided to post a picture of him and Dave with Joe Rogan,
Mm-hmm.
trying to say that, well, if they're trying to say that this is who this guy is, then why is this? And I was reminded of something that somebody posted it, but it's something I was new. Hey, slave owners, they interacted with their slaves too. So I don't know how he thought, and I think he's married to a black woman.
I don't know the answer to that.
So I don't know who in his life that's black that's been around him didn't check him and tell him that this wasn't okay.
You'd think. Some of these clips are old, but again, it wasn't okay 8 years ago to do that. Finish making your point, because I have a couple of clips of him in context.
Yeah,
because his claim is that they're out of context.
So I don't know he's been around that didn't check him, and I don't know, and if he is married to a black woman, I don't know how she could be married to him, because he doesn't respect her enough not to say the word.
It's Candace Owens. No, I don't know. It's not Candace Owens.
I mean, that's that part of it. He doesn't respect her enough to not think that he should not be saying the word.
Mm-hmm.
And she needs to think about that shit. Like she really needs to think about that. And I was going back and forth with a friend of mine who likes to post controversial viewpoints about this shit and saying that the artists were censoring him. Hey, as an artist that owns their music, they have a right to say that I do not want my art associated with your bullshit. That's not censoring him. That's them taking the power that they have and saying, you tell people to vote with their dollars. You say, hey, if you don't like it, don't listen to it. They're saying, hey, I don't like it. I don't want to pay him. Because in actuality, that is what is happening. And like she said, their money is going to pay him. And they have a total right to say, I do not want to be associated with this asshole. He's the biggest thing on Spotify, for Spotify.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and not only did he say the N-word, but the Proud Boys are as popular as they are because of him, because he brought some of their leaders on before they were a thing, and he helped make them a thing. So,
his controversial guests are people with dangerous viewpoints.
Right. So I understand you want to skirt the line or whatever, but when you have somebody up there, then you need to be prepared to have a conversation with them and to not just sit there and let them say bullshit and you not call them on it.
Mm-hmm.
That is your responsibility as a guest. I mean, as a host, so that you be educated enough to be able to have the conversation with that person about the dumb shit that they're saying, or you have somebody else with a different viewpoint that is able to contradict the shit that they're saying, and you not just let it sit out there like it's the truth, you know.
Yeah, I looked up Joe Rogan's wife. Now, I'm not saying she's not black, but she's incredibly light skinned. She does not look African American.
She has a daughter by the one of the guys that was in
H-Town.
H-Town. So yeah. And
again, so she should know enough to check it.
Yeah, and he should respect the kid enough not to say it.
True.
Not to think that it's okay.
Very true. So about all that out of context stuff, here's about a minute and a half of him in context having a conversation.
I remember that story because I remember you being like stunned at someone yelling out the N-word. How long is it going to be before you're not allowed to say the N-word? Like the N-word, just that phrase.
Right.
The
N-word. Phrase describing the word.
Yeah. How long before?
Yeah.
It is a magic word. If you say it, Candyman will come.
Right.
You know, it's very weird. It's very weird that we've ever allowed that. It's one thing, like you could say spick. No one's gonna get mad.
Mm.
You know, like it's not as racially charged. You know,
who you saying it to?
There's other ones.
He's just talking to somebody. Now it jumped from one clip to another, so I apologize for that.
No, but I wasn't questioning you, but that's what I'm saying. Like, who are you saying it to? Because if you say that,
it was Donnie.
Yeah, because if you say
Donnie
that to
Trejo, was
Danny Trejo there?
Danny Trejo on his episode?
No.
Is he going to say that with Danny Trejo next?
Guessing no.
Get the fuck out of here, man.
You just get away with all day. Like Irish ones or Italian
Nick
ones.
or Guido or...
They don't give a fuck.
Yeah.
You can call me a Guido all day. I don't give a fuck. No one cares. No one
Shank
gets
is a
mad at
tough
that.
one. They get very upset about...
I believe he's in studio with Greg Fitzsimmons, who doesn't care about Irish quote-unquote slurs.
It's rough.
Yeah.
Gook. How about Gook? That's a rough one.
Oh, that's a really rough one.
Yeah, but
Just sitting there naming off racial slurs and going, ooh, that's a rough one. What are you doing? What are you doing?
And can I just say, like, the reason that, like, I didn't even know Mick was a racial slur about Irish people. I didn't even know it existed. But I grew up my whole life like with the last name Casey. Being Irish and never knowing that there was a racial slur. So it doesn't count. It doesn't count, bro. I mean, come on. Like, I don't like if you're a person that doesn't like. Oh man, I just makes sense to me. It just doesn't make any sense.
Yeah.
I mean, Italian ones it makes like listen. Like, Italian ones they have a little bit hard, like a little bit more rough. You know, there's a little bit more going on there.
Well, and just because you as one Italian American or you as one African American don't have an issue with it, doesn't mean there's no issue with it. I'm just saying,
You're not a monolith.
Man, please, you, and this is the bullshit that he did last week with what's his name, the Canadian philosopher, psychologist, whatever the fuck he is.
Yeah.
This is the bullshit that they pulled last week with these. I'm trying to be obtuse and pretend like I don't know where the shit comes from.
Mm-hmm.
Like I don't understand why it's such a big deal. Like motherfucker, you know why it's a big deal.
The moment somebody starts spouting off, guy also is talking about how the Bible was the oldest printed like fucking text that ever existed. Like, get the fuck out! Like, have you ever been to the fucking pyramids? Okay, that's that fucking whole book, motherfucker. What the fuck are you talking about? Fucking idiots, dude. Like, seriously. That but you know who they are, like, you know what I mean. Once they that guy is a white supremacist. and I say that because you know KKK was a Christian group.
Yeah. Well, there's a lot of theories going around that this is a coordinated attack on Joe Rogan, and of course, it's the left that's doing it because we're all about the coordinated attacks. But here's the fun part. It turns out we found out who the first person to use that Joe Rogan's Planet of the Apes clip to attack him, and it happened during a feud that the two of them were having. You might recognize this voice.
And I agree, comedy should be comedy, but the left wants to project racism on everything, and you want to cuddle up to it. So feel what it's like, Joe. Here's Joe talking about going to see Planet of the Apes movie, and then he gets in a black neighborhood. Well, just hear it for yourself. Here it is.
Here's Planet of the Apes, man. We're going to go see Planet of the Apes. So I look on the iPhone app, and it says, okay, take me to this one. And the guy goes, okay. I go, is that in a good neighborhood? He's like, oh, yeah. Guy barely speaks English. He takes us there. We get out, and we're giggling. Oh, we're going to see Planet of the Apes. We walk into Planet of the Apes. We walked into Africa, dude. We walked in the door, and there was no white people. There was no white people.
Joe Rogan just said black people are apes. Well, I guess what's the in-between size? Mesomorphs, like we got big muscles, we're like got big torsos, short legs. I mean, there's some black people.
Alex Jones does have a big torso and little legs.
I'll eat your ass.
He does.
So that is where the clips of Joe Rogan first doing that came to light outside of people who are listening to his podcast. It was Alex Jones, who is now pals with Joe Rogan. But at that point, they were having a fight about something because Alex Jones was getting deplatformed on YouTube, and Joe Rogan wouldn't have him on his podcast. He's since had him on multiple times. But at that point, he wouldn't have him on his podcast. So, of course, he's a lefty liberal, and that's where it came from. Spotify has responded saying with a letter from their from their CEO, Daniel Ek. Sorry, he doesn't even have an L, just Daniel Ek. Spotify team, there are no words that I can say to adequately convey how deeply sorry I am for the way the Joe Rogan Experience controversy continues to impact each of you. Not only are some of Joe Rogan's comments incredibly hurtful, I want to make it clear they do not represent the values of this company. I know this situation leaves many of you feeling drained, frustrated, and unheard. I think it's important you're aware that we've had conversations with Joe and his team about some of the content in his show. I would like to talk to you about things to say in the show. I don't know if that's how it went. Sorry, I had to bring Cosby into it. Just had to do it. Including his history of using some racially insensitive language. Following these discussions and his own reflections, he chose to remove a number of episodes from Spotify. He also issued his own apology over the weekend. But he went on to say that Spotify is not the publisher of Joe Rogan. That is incorrect, Mr. Eck. You are. You're paying Joe Rogan $100 million to exclusively have the Joe Rogan Experience on Spotify. So therefore, you are the publisher of the Joe Rogan Experience because it doesn't exist anywhere else. It's you. You're paying for the content. So therefore, it's on you. Now, I don't know what discussions they've had, and I understand that, you know, when you've made $100 million investment, you're not just going to cast it aside and move on based upon the things that have happened. I get that. It's a business. They're not going to do it, you know, and they're getting a lot of ramifications. A lot of people canceling Spotify. There's some artists pulling their music from Spotify. Spotify's not moving on from Joe Rogan.
No.
And here's the thing. Even if they did, Joe Rogan would just go back to doing the Joe Rogan Experience the way he does, the way he was doing it before. Dude's got millions of people who listen to his show every day. He's going to make money from it. So, yeah, I mean, where are we going with all of this? It's good to highlight it. I think it's good to put the pressure on. I think it's good to go, hey, this isn't okay. None of this is okay. And if you choose to be associated with it, there's going to be some ramifications that go along with it. But ultimately, at the end of the day, and I hate saying at the end of the day because, well, it's you know, just bullshit. But at the end of the day, Joe Rogan is going to be a rich dude doing rich dude stuff. And the rich dude is also opening a comedy club in Austin. He lives in Austin, Texas now. He moved there with his new studio when he got the Spotify deal. And he's opening up a comedy club there. So it'll be really interesting to see kind of how that goes over. It's been a very, very weird week. Whitney Cummings came out and sort of pseudo defended him, talking about what the job of a comedian was, and Mark Maron replied, "You should add Be Funny to the list."
Yeah, he hasn't been giving a fuck about any of these people. Like,
and Whitney's take on what a comedian should be is a white woman take on what a comedian should be, because as a black person who grew up on Pryor and who loves Lenny Bruce and George Carlin and Chris Rock and Dave. I grew up on comics who were talked about politics, who talked about race, and not just to say the N-word. So she could talk about what comedy means to her as a white woman, and that's that box that she can stay in. But for the rest of us, for people who really have shit that they deal with and they laugh to keep from crying, comedy has always touched those subjects. And the comedians have been revered for that. So fuck you, Whitney Cummings.
Well, and Whitney Cummings also created a show that I watched, and I enjoyed it at the time, called Two Broke Girls, which got a lot of press for being one of the most racially insensitive shows on TV.
Yeah, and I watched the show too. I actually liked her until this.
Look, she's just trying to weigh in. I'm sure she's friends with Joe Rogan from way back, and she's just trying to weigh in and do whatever she's going to do. And ultimately, it makes zero difference at all. She said something. She got slapped by Mark Maron. We move on with our lives. It's not going to make a difference one way or another. It's comedians having a Twitter spat. Meanwhile, on Fox, Dan Bongino, who, by the way, is no longer on YouTube because he spread disinformation too much. His show took a website list of the most healthy cities in the U.S. and turned it into a graphic titled "The Top 10 Most Unhealthy U.S. Cities." They used that to back Bongino's claim that Democrats don't care about urban deaths. The problem is, they did it in reverse. So the most unhealthy cities would be on the other end of the list, because their claim in this graphic, which is absolutely wrong, here are the top 5 most unhealthy cities according to this. Number 1, San Francisco. Number 2, Seattle. Number 3, Portland, Oregon. Number 4, San Diego. And number 5, Honolulu. Those are the 5 healthiest cities.
Yeah, so there's no way that those are the healthiest
Yeah.
cities. Come on. Like, listen, you live in San Francisco. If you live in San Francisco, like,
Right.
you're walking a lot of fucking hills.
Oh yeah.
I want to move past that one quickly because I don't like spending
Yeah.
time on Dan Bongino.
And
Yeah.
my girlfriend just got back from Portland, and she is sore as fuck from walking 12 miles
Yeah.
over the weekend. So yeah, no,
People take public transit in all those places and then they walk.
yes,
People in Seattle hills, people walk places. Meanwhile, in Canada, a bunch of angry truckers who don't want to get vaccinated have been blockading in the capital of Ottawa. It's been causing some problems in a variety of things, and the locals in Ottawa are pretty tired of the whole thing. That's the counter protest going on in Ottawa. Go home, dipshits. There's been some other things, like there's a few of them that apparently were caught trying to light an apartment building on fire. They're harassing people in Ottawa and all that, but and here's the other thing: they're getting a lot of funding from GoFundMe accounts from the U.S.
of course.
Of course. Sounds great.
Yeah.
Good job,
All right.
GoFundMe. Good job.
All right. Well, let's stop beating up on Joe Rogan for a minute, and let's talk about Adam Carolla. Someone who used to be one of my favorites. Anyway, he was on Hannity. He's been going on Fox News for quite a while now. Back when Bill O'Reilly was on, he was on I think Monday nights. He did a little quick segment on there. I'm just gonna play it for you.
And here's a quick thought experiment. If AOC was fat and in her 60s, would anyone listen to another thing she ever said?
Oh boy, you're going to step in that one. What exactly do you mean by that? Do you mean, is it because she's young and what?
Yes, she's young, she's vibrant, she's beautiful, and everyone's always putting a camera and a mic in her face. But her opinions are idiotic. 95.
Okay. There's a hot take.
So let's talk about why people they turned AOC into their whipping board.
Mm-hmm. She's the new age Nancy Pelosi, you know.
Yes, they made AOC popular.
Mm-hmm.
The Democrats didn't elevate her. The Republicans decided that they wanted to make her the new face of the party.
Mm-hmm.
So deal with it. You motherfuckers created the monster. And she has nothing to do with the fact that they decided to do that.
You know what I fucking hate also? Like, I just fucking hate, like, so much people, like, calling constituents of an area, like, idiot. Like, I mean, like, it's so fucking shit. Like, she was elected in a fair fucking voting, like, by the people in her surrounding area and her constituency decided that she was an important person that they wanted to have represent them. Like,
Okay, I'm going to stop you right there. The
Get
same
the-
thing happened with Marjorie Taylor Greene. Your argument holds no water here.
no, it does.
It does not, because the people in Marjorie Taylor Greene's district elected her. Now, she ran unopposed, but by saying that, you just give full credence to every other idiot that's in Congress. Here's what they didn't count on when they elevated her. They went, oh, well, she was a bartender 6 months ago. She's got to be stupid. Except the problem is she's not. She's really, really smart. And they didn't do their research as to who they were dealing with. So
Yes.
so you elevated somebody who's way smarter than you thought they were, and now it's a problem for you.
And thank you, Nate, because I was going to point out the fact that she does make really smart, intelligent points. She has a really intelligent point of view. So I didn't want to just leave that out.
She studies her shit. She knows her shit. And you may not like her viewpoint, you may not agree with it, and that's fine. But it comes from a place of knowing what the fuck she's talking about, as opposed to a lot of other people. And trust me, I used to be down with going, you know what, someone gets elected to Congress, good for them. They're smart, they're with it, they understand. That's not the case anymore. It just isn't. There's too many districts where people run unopposed, or the populace will vote for whatever idiot you throw out there if they have an R behind their name, or in some cases if they have a D behind their name. There are dumbass Democrats that have gotten elected because they happen to be in a district where the majority of the people would rather be bled to death on a street corner than vote Republican. Now, the percentage does skew the other way a lot, but especially recently, really recently, the Marjorie Taylor Greenes, the Madison Cawthorns, the Matt Gaetz, the Lauren Boeberts of the world. They're not coming at the world from an informed viewpoint. They're not stating what they think policy should be based upon years of study and analyzing what things are. They are about creating a culture war and being in power. That's pretty much what they're about. Because they don't make any policy statements at all. So yeah.
And I guess that's the thing that was missed with what I was saying, is that she cares about her constituents and she talks about that. Marjorie Taylor Greene doesn't ever talk, like, there's nothing that she's ever done that shows that she cares about the fucking people that she's working for. Yet AOC has consistently shown and done that, like,
well, I apologize
regularly.
for cutting you off.
Margie, fuck her and Bo. Like, those people will not get more than one term. Those people are going to be out.
Whoa, I don't know about that. I'm not that confident.
I
would love to believe that. I have no confidence in that. We'll see. I'm fingers crossed. I hope you're right. I don't know.
When they get the call logs from the January 6th committee.
Yikes. By the way, it's looking like we're going to have primetime hearings from the January 6th committee starting in April. Starting in April, that everyone can sit down and watch the hearings publicly. Now, we'll see who does. But anyway.
And it better be on every single channel, like preempt fucking everything. ABC, NBC, Fox, like all those places need to be showing it.
Well, everyone will be showing it, probably except for Fox.
Look,
yeah, they'll be
Masked
talking.
Singer has to air.
Yeah, well, and they're going to talk about there's going to be new controversy with the candy bars coming out, and another cartoon character.
There's a lot going on.
Smurfette's going to be come out as lesbian, which just fuck shit up for them.
Oh boy, I can't wait to hear their hot take on the new flavor of Peeps coming around these days. When I was growing up, Peeps were yellow, just yellow, and now look at them—they're pink, they're blue. What is all this?
Put your multiculturalism, different colorisms in your Peeps. Oh, and now it's not just.
Now we've got You know, we got a rainbow of Peeps. The gays have taken over Peeps.
Oh, and guess what? We don't have just Peeps anymore. We have like little like snowman looking things also. And what's up with that? Like those aren't Peeps, but they're calling them Peeps. Oh, look at what happens when they have a baby.
What's happened? When all them marshmallows been fucking? What's going on?
What's gonna happen when they have sex with a Reese's peanut butter cup? Huh? What's gonna happen then?
Caramello? No, that's something else. Anyway, there have been a lot. There've been a lot
Deliciousness.
of sure. There've been a lot of rallies lately, and I like to hear from random Trump supporters just so I can know what they're thinking.
You're supporting Trump?
Am I supporting Trump?
They're all laughing because she's wearing a Trump knit hat, a Trump sweatshirt, and a "Let's Go Brandon" t-shirt. So you know just by looking at her what she's about. But let's listen to what she has to say.
Good question.
Of course.
Okay. Why?
45. He's going to be re-inaugurated this year.
You think so?
Oh, no, I know so.
What's your source or your reference?
God.
God?
Yeah, God said so.
God did not say so.
God
I monitor
said
God.
so.
I monitor God on the regular. He has not once mentioned Trump at all.
So you
God
think
damn it, God said so.
I mean, but there's no legal, you just have the Lord.
That's right. That's the Lord's word. Isn't that good enough?
No, are you from here local?
Yeah, actually, I'm from Houston.
Okay, that's close.
Well, I'm not from there, but I live
You're not a hippie protester from up north.
What?
You're not a hippie protester from up north.
No.
Oh.
Ridiculous. This is what we're in right now. He's the one that gonna.
Okay. God says, I don't think God's an American citizen. Is he? She?
They would not let him in the country.
Well, you're talking Jesus now.
Well, but he would also. God would be an alien. I mean, he's not like he wasn't born in the U.S., right?
Well, what
So,
if
I mean,
God
he's-
was one of us, Jason? Just a slob like one of us. A stranger on the bus, trying to make his way home.
I don't know. Hopefully, he gets the transfer.
See, now that might be who told her Trump was getting reinaugurated last year. It's a stranger on the bus trying to make his way home. Damn you, Joan Osborne! You saw the future. For all of our younger listeners, that's the 90s. Check in with it. Learn some things. Listen to the music. By the way, we've only watched a couple of the episodes of Pam and Tommy. The soundtrack is amazing. I will say that episode 2. Have you guys seen it? Have you guys seen?
No, I
Pam
haven't
and
watched. I
Tommy
haven't watched it yet. No.
on Hulu.
I watched Jack Reacher last night.
As I say, I watched all of Reacher this last weekend.
Okay. Well, there was some Reacher on the Pam and Tommy.
I'm sure he had.
Episode 2 has one scene that anybody who sees is like, holy shit, what is happening here? You'll know it when you see it. I don't want to spoil it for anybody.
Real
to visit. Yes.
Real quick, Kareem, what do you think about Reacher? What
I think they should have had somebody else play him.
you think
You mean
so?
Tom Cruise? Somebody
No.
short? Somebody 5?
No, because actually my buddies read the books, and it's actually The Rock should have played Jack Reacher.
I would lean more towards Cena, but I mean, if you're going to go for a wrestler, but yes.
No, it's a black guy in the books.
No, not the books
Yeah.
I read. Not the books I read. Maybe there's different books. Maybe it's like Santa. Depends on which
I don't
house you
know.
get the books at.
My buddy read the books. He said it was a black guy. He said The Rock would have been the.
I didn't. My father-in-law did not. The only problem my father-in-law had with it was that Tom Cruise was too small. That
Tom Cruise was absolutely too
Yeah.
small to be
Yeah.
Jack Reacher.
Yeah,
Now
that he
I thought he
should've-
did a fine job. He did okay in the film. He's Tom Cruise. He does his Tom Cruise stuff.
I like the guy. Like I don't know about him. So if he's supposed to be black, then he should be black. But I thought the guy fit the bill as far as the size. Like the guy's fucking huge.
Yeah. No, that part. Yeah, but I'm like, was Jack autistic?
No, he was military.
Yeah.
No, because this dude comes across a bit like he has like Asperger's. That's why.
Oh,
I think he's just down to business. Like, I don't know. He's just like
he was an MP, so he's doing stuff by the letter of the law, but not really.
I
haven't seen the show yet. I've just read a couple of the books.
When I was reading about like him, like how the book came to be in the late 90s, and it was to be like anti all the other types of books like that. Like as far as like having a hero that is good, follows the letter of the law, it like kills people, is a badass, but is not a anti-hero. You know, like just a good guy.
Fair enough. All right. Is that on Amazon?
Yeah.
All right, I'll have to check that out.
Florida.
Florida, land of enchantment and crazy shit. This is Florida Corner.
Headline: FBI retiree said he just wanted to vote twice. Dateline, Florida, one of Florida's retirees charged with casting 2 ballots in the 2020 election, told federal agents he, quote, just wanted to vote twice and wanted to see if he could vote twice. That's according to the report. Charles Barnes, 64, was arrested last month on felony fraud count for allegedly voting in both Florida and Connecticut. Barnes has pleaded not guilty to the charge and is free on $2,000 bond. He lives with his wife in an 1,156 square foot residence in the Villages, a sprawling Central Florida retirement community full of Republicans. For the most part. The couple purchased the newly built home for $170,000 in December 2015, according to property records. Now, Barnes registered to vote from Florida in 2019, and he did not indicate a political party affiliation. The Connecticut native records show was simultaneously registered to vote in Milford, which is 10 miles away from New Haven, Connecticut. Barnes and his wife have owned a small home in Milford for more than 30 years. Now, according to investigative records, Barnes requested a Connecticut absentee ballot on September 15th, 2020, citing COVID as the reason for not voting in person. He subsequently returned his ballot by mail, making sure to sign and date the inner envelope containing the ballot. 3 weeks after voting by mail in Connecticut, he cast a vote in person on October 28th at a recreation center in the Villages. The investigation into Barnes began late last year when the Connecticut officials became aware of the multiple ballots. The ensuing probe included a November 2021 interview of Barnes by the FBI, who told the suspect that the agency had received information he voted in Connecticut and in Florida during the 2020 presidential election. Barnes said, "It won't happen again." Oh, okay. Okay.
Well, in that case,
you're an old white guy. You can do it. When asked why he voted twice, Barnes stated he did so because he just wanted to vote twice and wanted to see if he could vote twice. He is the 4th resident of the Villages to be arrested in recent weeks for allegedly voting twice in the 2020 general election. 2 of the other defendants are Republicans, while a 3rd villager like Barnes is an unaffiliated voter. Yeah. There you
go. So you're telling me that all the fraud that I've heard about so far is been from Republicans voting twice?
Yep. Correct. The voter fraud that we know about, virtually all of it, is people trying to vote for Donald Trump multiple times. I don't know that that's the case with this gentleman, but that's it.
But some of the people that he lives around did that.
Correct. And the Villages, if you recall, there's an older gentleman in the Villages who has a golf cart who had the anti-Trump signs, and he was getting all sorts of harassment around the community because he's very much in the minority in that community. Meanwhile, in Tarpon Springs, Florida, a drug suspect tried to convince cops that a plastic bag found in his backpack contained breath mints and not meth. It didn't work. Spoiler alert, it didn't work. Stephen Whalen, 32, was driving a PT Cruiser. Hasn't he been punished enough?
God damn. God damn.
One of the patrolmen spotted him behind the wheel. The officer knew Whalen from a prior police-related incident and was aware his driver's license had been revoked. Oopsie. He was taken into custody and the Chrysler was searched. It was as big as a whale and it was about to set sail. That's the 80s, kids. Go back. Love Shack. Inside his backpack, police say they found an assorted drug paraphernalia and a baggie containing 2.6 grams of meth. When questioned about the seized narcotics, Whalen reportedly said the meth was not meth and that it was breath mints. He would not elaborate on anything else regarding his curiously strong mints. However, it was meth. He was charged with possession of that, plus possession of fentanyl and drug paraphernalia. Oh, yeah, and driving without a license. He was booked into the county jail on $4,400 bond. If you're wondering, his rap sheet includes convictions for battery, burglary, narcotics sales, trespass, dealing in stolen property, narcotics possession, and providing a false name to law enforcement. He was released from state prison in February 2020 after serving 18 months on multiple drug convictions. Looks like he'll be going back soon, allegedly. And that's gonna do it for Florida Corner, everybody. Sorry, I think anybody who has to drive a PT Cruiser is already endured a lot.
Like, just like the fact of like, if you can buy a car and like when you buy it, it comes with like different types of like cool paint jobs, like flames. Or cool fake wood grain.
Stickers.
Yeah. Stay away.
I mean, other than Michael Scott, I don't know anybody who is deservedly driving a PT Cruiser. That's an Office reference. The Office. Michael Scott. All right, so I mentioned this in the post about the show being live, and Jason, you sent this along. This is from TikTok, and this is, and I will warn you guys, your results may vary. So we here at the WTH podcast do not endorse this or encourage it at all. But this TikTok user says this is how you win an argument with your lady.
Oh, that bitch. You heart emojis under her fucking picture. Man, it was there but a damn picture. Why are you following her? Why are you following her? You got me fucked up. You keep on. You ain't gon' do shit. No more dick. No more dick. No more dick. Keep no more dick. Keep talking. No more dick. No more dick. Say another word. No more dick. Now sit there and told you in number the damn picture. Now you sit back and shut up or you won't get no more dick. You hungry? What you want to eat? McDonald's? Chick-fil-A? All right then. No more dick.
Again, results may vary.
Depends on how you're putting it down.
I also think it may not work on your standard suburban white chick. I'm just saying it may be a difference. It may be a difference of opinion. But
Chris,
you know, if you go ahead and do
no more
good luck to
dick.
you.
No more dick.
Good luck to you.
She's giving me the thumbs up. Stop.
Yeah, stop bothering me with that. All right. No more dick.
Well, thanks, guys. You fucked my life up.
Again, your results may vary. Sometimes you win, sometimes you lose.
Let's leave the hustle and bustle for small town news.
All right, let's leave it with a, I guess, heartwarming story where we go to the Northeast Kingdom of Vermont, where longtime Newport police dispatcher Jill Lillis retires. That's right, the Newport Police Department announced that longtime local dispatcher Jill Lillis is retiring from the department. Lillis was hired in 2008 as a part-time dispatcher and came on full-time in 2018. During an interview with the Newport Dispatch, Lillis said that her career with the Newport Police Department was very rewarding. Helping community members, often during their worst moments, Lillis admitted that it's the role dispatcher can take its toll emotionally, but she was always proud of the way the department and the community worked together during these times. She says that working for the department showed her how police can almost become like family to community members, and that mutual trust between police agencies and the communities they serve is critical to maintaining public safety. In the statement, the Newport Police Department said Jill's infectious personality will be missed by our office and the community she served. We're all grateful for Jill's time here at NPD and wish her the very best in retirement. Now, for her part, Lillis said she's looking forward to hiking and kayaking more during her retirement. However, she says she may still occasionally as a substitute teacher. The end. Look, it's small town news. You don't be waiting for a hook, because there's not.
Good luck in your retirement, Jill.
Right? She's been working full time there for almost 4 years, and calling it a career.
and she worked there for 4 years.
She looked there. She worked for 14 years, but only 4 of them full time.
14.
She still looks relatively young. So good for her. There's a photo of her holding a plaque in front of the officers of the Newport Police Department and a few ladies with questionable haircuts. You can check it out at the Newport Dispatch website if you would like to do that. All right, let's wrap this thing up. Jason, any final words?
Just don't tell your wife no dick. Just don't say no.
Kareem?
Take care of your peoples.
Fair enough. My final words are, please, if you're doing this and you know who you are, you can stop. He's going to be okay. You can stop defending Joe Rogan. Just shh. He doesn't need you. He'll be okay. He's got millions and millions. He's got more money than he'll ever be able to spend. He'll be okay. You don't need to defend him. And it'll sometimes it makes you feel good just to let things go. Let go and let God, I say, when it comes to Joe Rogan. Let go and let God. Jesus, take the wheel, if you will. And of course, no more dick. All right, everybody, have a great week. We'll see you next time on the WTH podcast. Maybe no more dick will be our Valentine's Day episode. We'll see how that goes. All right, everybody, we love you. We'll see you next time.